It is January 5th. Holy hell, it's January already. You know, when the year turns at a new year and you don't really, doesn't sit in, doesn't hit you, and then eventually you see it when you say the date or write the date down when you check in somewhere, you realize, you're like, oh my God, it just hit me. In this moment, just now saying that, 2026 has officially struck me and hit me. But nonetheless, welcome back to, I guess, the first episode in the year 2026 of the year of Blue Blooded. GM Adam, obviously not here with me. If you are an avid listener, you know he had torn ACL surgery last week, so he is out indefinitely. It won't be that long because we will do virtual sessions, and this is a podcast, so he will be fine to be on a podcast soon. We'll see when we get him into the studio again next. But I will not be alone today. I'll talk through news and notes and the home court advantage by myself. But Christian Odjakjian out of Enjoy Basketball, big Vandy guy, big Wake Forest guy, big on Twitter. He's starting to get his short form video stuff up. If you know him from Enjoy, he's awesome. He's going to be with me for the bulk of the content. We are going to talk through all the games, starting with the new year. A lot from this past Saturday. We're going to talk about Nebraska. By the way, behind me, which way? Shout out the jersey behind me. Listen, I say that we rotate the jerseys. I got UIC in there also, the Flames. But when Nebraska ball plays like they're playing, and when these things happen, you got to rep the friends of the program that are cooking. So Nebraska, America's team, hottest team in the country, 18-game win streak dating back to last year's college basketball crown on top of their, I think, 14 wins so far this year. Big shout out to Nebraska ball. We will talk about them. We'll talk about Miami, Ohio. We'll talk about Michigan versus Arizona. But the idea of Michigan versus Arizona, we'll talk through the best trios in the country. We'll also do panic meter, excitement scale, and we will do some good Q&A, talking about the best point guards in the country. I saw that's one of the questions, which is definitely a fun one. So hope you guys enjoy it. News and notes around the nation. Let's get the injuries out of the way. Jakari White, Toby Lawal were out this week and are still out for UVA and Virginia Tech. Luke Bamboye out again. He's just hot and cold on and off, playing and not playing for Texas Tech. Those are the injuries. Caden Boozer has gotten into the starting lineup for Duke consistently 2 games in a row now. I think they put Nick Hamenya, moved him to the bench, and they're starting both Caden Boozer and Caleb Foster. We'll see how that kind of goes throughout ACC play. It doesn't look like their team has really changed that much. I've been a big proponent, even since the offseason, that Caden Boozer will be this team's starting point guard by the end of the season, and he needs to be at some point for their offensive ceiling. Their point guard and guard play in general hasn't been good enough and consistent enough. He has shown flashes. Obviously, we know who Caleb Foster is, but I think that I still stand on the fact that Caden Boozer should and will be the quote PG1 by the end of the season if you don't see him as that already going forward. But saw that movement from Duke. Another one, some positive news. Braden Smith has broken the Big Ten all-time assist record. I think it was previously held by Cassius Winston out of Michigan State. Also a legend, but Braden Smith, man, congrats to him, friend of the program, Purdue. We were out there. I was hanging with Braden and the guys in December. Really good guy. Really, he just understands everything. He's always so calm and poised, and he's got a good perspective on everything. So it's good to see a good person, not only a good player, be able to hold a record like that, but truly one of the best playmakers the Big Ten and college basketball has seen in decades, this generation that I've been alive, that all of us have been alive realistically. Purdue fans will argue he's the best playmaker in college basketball history. He's up there. Obviously, there are some legends of the game that you can go back and make a list on that I did not make a list, and maybe I should have, but shout out to Braden Smith, the Big Ten assist record. That is awesome. Home court advantage of the week presented by Home Field. I told you about the Nebraska ball jersey behind me. We are going to Lincoln, Nebraska. PBA, baby. Pinnacle Bank Arena for Nebraska ball versus Michigan State. Because listen, it's winter break. The students don't have to show up. I know a lot of them might be local, and the local fan base and towns in general we're very amped up for Nebraska ball being so good and hosting Michigan State in a top 10 matchup, or hosting a top 10 team, excuse me. But man, they showed out and then some. And not only were the Nebraska ball fans, I keep just saying Nebraska ball, it rolls off the tongue. Not only were the Nebraska fans so great, the energy was there from the moment it started. It definitely fuels the players, absolutely. Pinnacle Bank Arena has been a really tough place to play, even when Nebraska hasn't been great. So props to those fans for years before this, but this game especially. And in this game, the end of the game, Jackson Kohler goes to the line. I think they were down 2 to tie the game with 2 free throws, and he misses the first free throw because the Nebraska, I mean, maybe not just because the Nebraska fans, but the fans were going absolutely ballistic behind the basket. They showed a really good angle of it. They're going absolutely nuts. Jackson Kohler misses the first free throw, and then from there, you basically knew the game was over, and Nebraska was getting that huge win. So definitely a home court advantage for Nebraska against Michigan State. Like Michigan State gets at the Breslin Center also, but shout out to Nebraska, and I can guarantee we are not done talking about them. And like I said, I would not be alone for the entire episode. That was only for the first couple of segments. My good friend and friend of the program, Christian Odjakjian, is here. I think most people know you. I described you as a Vandy and weight guy, and that was it.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm just a total sicko. I live for this. You're great for the sport. I'm trying to get like you and just be putting out content because there's a hunger for it. It's an awesome sport. I know we're trying to figure out the rules and everything. I don't know if we'll talk on James Nye today, but college basketball is life. Happy to be here.
He did play basketball in college basketball this week, which people were hate watching to the max. To the max. It was hilarious. They were like, he only had 4 points and 5 rebounds. I'm like, dog, this guy just came from Spain to play in Texas. Relax for 2 seconds. But ODJ Hoops on social media, most social media platforms, you can find him. Does great stuff with Enjoy Basketball. Also, yes, Vandy and weight guy. But let's roll right into it. I was talking about Nebraska ball right before this. Let's talk Nebraska ball. Talk sexy to me. Talk Cornhuskers to me, because I just feel like every time this team plays, they blow me out of the water more and more. Obviously, they're up to 14-0 now. They just beat a top 10 Michigan State team at home when no one expected them to be here, even after they were started beating everybody on their non-con schedule. And then Illinois, like, I think most people would have been on Michigan State. Like, I probably would have been if I had to make a pick before this game anyway, but they are so legit. Like, I am fully convinced that they're actually awesome. A couple of things to appreciate how good Nebraska has been right now. This is Fred Hoiberg's 7th year at Nebraska. His first 2 seasons, and I think it was 18-19 and 19-20, he won 7 games in each of those 2 seasons. He's already up to 14 those 2 years together now. The highest they've ever been ranked in the AP poll was 8th in 1966, when I don't even know how many teams there were. I got to imagine when this poll comes out, as we're recording this tomorrow, they might be 8th. Like, they might get real close to it. If not, maybe at 8 or 7. And they've never won an NCAA tournament game. It feels like this is the year of Nebraska ball. This is America's team right now. What are your thoughts on the Cornhuskers, my good man?
They are very, very good. I think this is the game where, and it's not just because they haven't lost, but I came away even more impressed from the Michigan State win, even though than compared to when they won at Illinois. Because at Illinois, like, Sanford went just nuts. Like, he couldn't miss. This game, it was like on both ends of the floor. I thought they were the better team. Defensively, they're up to 18th in KenPom. They don't foul. They're fourth best foul rate. And the way that they just load up the help, and you end up with like 12 3-point attempts for Kurtang and forcing, 19 turnovers of Michigan State. They are incredible defensively. And they only rank 44th offensively on KenPom, but they're 11th in turnover percentage, 13th in assist rate. And you just love that having Mast as that 5-out hub, as a lights out shooter, and just all the actions with Sanford and him and Lawrence just rubbing off each other. You get layups. That's why they're 21st in 2-point percentage, shooting 60% inside the arc. And they're only shooting 34% from deep, but they clearly have so many killer shooters. It's beautiful offense, and they're great defensively. There's no weakness with this team except maybe on the glass. And they just beat like one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
Literally, what I say, I feel like your energy coming through. I feel the exact same way where I said it, like, after they beat Illinois, it felt like one of those, like, man, that's a great win. That's awesome for them. I'm so happy that they're good. This game, I came away thinking, like, oh my God, like, can they push to contend for the regular season title in the Big Ten? Now, Michigan and Purdue is a big, big thing. Like, we'll talk about it in a second, I think, to see, like, how good can Nebraska be. Every week it feels like it's a new ceiling we're reaching. So how good can they actually be? But that's how I felt coming out of the Michigan State game. Like you said, their system is awesome. Offensively, it's so fun to watch. It's 4 or 5 spread offense out. They have incredible ball movement. They have they have a huge, very high assist rate. Their actions are so decisive. They're so decisive with the ball. Like you said about finding open lanes and backdoor layups, their cutting is great off the ball. They do all the dirty work too. Like, every little ounce of being locked in, focus, effort. Like, Sam Hoiberg, I feel like represents that so well. Because, like, Price Sanford, obviously, and Rink Moss are the two best players for sure. Even Jamarcus Lawrence and a couple of guys have been great. Sam Hoiberg should not. He's a 6-foot coach's son point guard. Like who? It's like I can't believe he's actually maybe their most important player. He is glue guy of the year right now. He's that good. And he represents everything. And their offense is amazing to watch offensively. But like you said about the defense, that is what is winning them games. And I went back and watched it this morning. I mean, they're playing the no middle defense. They're bringing the 2018 Texas Tech, 2021 Baylor no middle scheme back. It is absolutely crazy. And like I saw flashes of it a couple weeks ago, but like in the Michigan State game, everything, especially because they have so much size and they try to play into the middle of the lane so much, they basically just say they blitz ball screens, they trap in the corner, they slide help, they tag rollers to have 4 guys in the paint at all times. I think they are, if I have this correctly, they are second in the entire country in minimum. I don't know how to explain this. They are allowing the second least rim attempts per game in the entire country when they're on defense at 10.9 rim attempts. Because again, no middle, they're just keeping everyone out of the middle. And they are allowing the second most 3-point attempts per game. I guess that's the best way to say it. Like that depicts exactly how they play defense, where it's a no middle scheme. They're going to trap you in the corners. They're going to slide and help and tag in the paint. They want you to kick the ball out. They'll try to contest those threes as best as they can, but they'll live with that. And especially in the Big Ten against teams like Michigan State, like maybe that's the recipe for success. Like maybe it's going to work like that, but the defense has been unbelievable. Like it's absolutely incredible. I love it. I love it.
You described the defense incredibly well. One other wrinkle I noticed during that Michigan State game was their willingness to switch initial actions at the top. Like you would see Hoiberg on Kohler, like fronting him or something, but it didn't. Their point switching too, and their communication is all just absolutely on point. And what they did to Michigan State, like you said, trapping in those corners, it was just killer. And if you did like maybe once or twice, like you got it to Carr for like an easy one, but Michigan State really struggled to deal with that.
Yeah. And I do want to shout out some of the other guys on the team. We said Rank Moss, Price Sanford, the best players. Braden Frager also, even though he had that celebration at Jeremy Fears that people got mad about. I was like,
no way that was like
he
real.
He didn't think in that moment. Like Jeremy Fears got shot. I'm about a blicky at him. Like there's no way he's thinking about that. The Instagram post, I think he deleted it.
The Instagram post was not cool, I will say.
He said like fear none, kind of tough until you realize the thing behind it. But I think he deleted it afterwards. But Braden Frager also good. Talked about Jamarcus Lawrence at the guard spot. Sam Hoiberg's awesome. I gotta try to pronounce the names right. I know Berkey Bjorntinchel. I know him because he's been around. I think he was at UCLA beforehand, right? Berkey Bjorntinchel. I'm gonna do this. Ugnius Jerusavicius. I think that's how we say it. I think that's how we do. Jerusavicius. I think that's how you say it, or something like that. But they got dudes. They're super fun to watch. They're a super unorthodox team. They're up to 14-0. They do play as of releasing the podcast. They play tonight. They have a boomerang game, real fast turnaround, playing Ohio State on the road in Columbus on Monday night. Ohio State's not bad. So maybe they'll go to 15-0, which would be a massive, massive get-go. But I pray they don't lose after all this hype. And then they lose on Monday night, the second they get ranked the highest in school history. That's
a really tough game. That's conference play though, a middle tier team. But the way Bruce is playing, and they kind of need a marquee win. I don't even know if they'll be favored in that game.
Let's go find out.
It'll be a fun one.
I'm gonna go find out right now for us because KenPom lines are usually accurate. They're projected to lose by 1, so it's probably like a pick'em game. If you're a gambler out there, we don't do gambling. Promote gambling at least, but it's probably a pick'em game or something like that. Let's go to another team. Honestly, this team plays pretty damn similarly, especially offensively, to Nebraska. The Miami, Ohio Redhawks, the real Miami. Here's a question. Who's the best Miami in the country? That's a tough one because Miami, Florida is not bad.
Miami, Florida is a tournament team, I think. But guess what? They're not undefeated.
They're not 15-0. They're not 15-0, so it's irrelevant. Miami, Ohio, up to 15-0. They just beat the best team in the MAC in Akron, the reigning champions. And if you know MAC basketball, you know that Akron is the best team in the conference basically every year. They also beat Bowling Green right before that, who's arguably the second best team in the conference, or maybe third or fourth now. They have not been to the NCAA tournament since 2007. But boy, Miami, Ohio, like Nebraska, is so fun to watch. they played a really shitty non-con schedule. So most people were like, oh, they're undefeated. They'll lose to Bowling Green or Akron or both, and they'll get steamrolled, or they won't be that great in MAC play. I thought that too, to a level, not that badly, but they also don't have their point guard. They're literally, their point guard is out for the entire year. He tore his ACL, but they're super fun to watch. They are shooting 43% from three. They're second in the country in that. They play similar to Nebraska, a 5-out spread offense all the time, tons of ball movement, tons of motion actions to basically get them to try to penetrate that perimeter pressure, because then they just get defenses to converge inside and they kick to open shooters. They have a 9-man rotation that was a 10-man rotation when they were healthy, where everybody shoots 39% or more, and really like everybody but one guy has the full green light. That's from three, sorry. They all shoot 39% or better from three. Get this also. It's a good stat. In the clutch, so which is the last 5 minutes of games that are within 5 points either way, they're shooting 60% from three and 80% from the free throw line. And you can feel that when you watch them. Like they've been in, I counted 8 games where they were in those clutch moment situations. They have 2 10-point comebacks, 6 5-point comebacks. Like KenPom will say it's luck. They're top 50 in luck in the country. I feel like they're just clutch. I don't know, but they're super fun to watch. So shout out to Miami, Ohio. Did you catch the Red Hawks this weekend?
Yeah, I caught up on that one today. Shout out to Travis Steele's done, an incredible job. 15-0 is nothing to snuff at. And 2 of the hardest games they'll play all conference play, maybe the 2 toughest, they already got out the way. I will say, though, I think without Ipsaro, I'm not super excited about their ability to win the MAC tournament. I just think I came away more impressed with Akron from this game, to be honest. Like Miami took 20 more free throws, didn't get anything off the bench, and there was just really nothing easy at the rim. Everyone demands a closeout, and I love the way Antoine Woolfolk, the big guy, plays as kind of a trigger, like similar, like you said, to a Mass. But they're driving with the purpose to kick it out. No one's really getting all the way to the rim, and Akron has like a lot of good players. They're much more athletic and stronger, and they shot 8 for 32 from deep, missed a lot of open ones. So all the credit in the world to Miami. They're having a great season. I think they could win 27, 28 games, but Akron's the team that I'm circling as a 12 seed that I think could legit do things.
Akron's a problem every year. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Akron ends up like basically walking through the most of MAC play, which they probably will, regardless of this game, or if they lose another one, and then probably be the 1 seed in the conference tournament. But let's frame it this way. Miami, Ohio, bad strength of schedule in the non-con slate. Analytics don't love them. They're up to 99th in the country in KenPom now after getting to 15-0 and beating Akron. And I think Akron even went up also to like 55 or something like that. But they are just now cracking the top 100 in KenPom and analytical sites that don't really love them. Like you said, they're obviously missing Evan Ipsaro for the entire year. Their starting point guard towards ACL, I think it was. They are not a super deep team. They're super clutch late in games, which is great. But at some point, maybe that luck runs out. But also, it's not running out early against the 2 best teams in the conference. Like, it's like, okay, maybe it's for real. They're going to have, they're 15-0 now. They play 30 games in the regular season. What's to say they can't get an at-large bid at this point? If they don't have to win the MAC tournament, because I understand their analytical profile and quad and net and quad record won't be great. Their net probably won't be awful because if they keep winning. But strength of record, wins above bubble are going to be amazing for them. Like strength of record, if they lose 1 game the entire year, is going to be a top 15, 10 strength of record probably. That's how that works most of the time. I don't know if they can get an at-large. Like they definitely can. They'd have to probably win out, maybe lose 1 game in the regular season, and then 1 to like Akron in the conference final. I still don't know if that does it. Like would the committee be like, you know what, this team went. It would be 29-1. They'd go 31-2, and their resume is like on the border. Like, do you put them in? I feel like the committee would never put them in because they never do with teams like that, depending on how the bubble looks with the bid stealers. But what's to say they can't get an at-large bid right now?
If they lose 2, I think they're in. 3, maybe, but I'm thinking of teams like Stephen F. Austin or New Mexico State in past years that were dominated their league, lost maybe 4 games.
Indiana State.
They weren't get in. I forget how many Indiana State. I'm still mad about that, honestly, that team.
It was the bid stealers that year. They had the playing games were at the 10 seed line. So I was kind of like, oh, I think it was 2023, right?
No, it was just 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's just 2 years ago. See, I feel old already.
Yeah, they
They
were
were
28.
32-7. Oh, never mind.
Well, you're giving them the NIT. They were 28-6
My
pre-tournament.
fault. I really even then 28-6 looks even worse then. Exactly. I don't know. 31-2. Charleston, when they won the CAA one year, a couple years ago, they were something whatever in 2, and they were like a 12 seed, so they wouldn't have gotten in. So I don't know. We don't know if Miami's going to get in. They probably have to win out and then go. It would be what 32-1 or whatever, and that would definitely put them in. If you lose one game and it's just in the conference tournament, no matter what conference you're in, they have to put you in. They have to put you in, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm firm on that. If you go undefeated in the regular season, you should have locked up a tournament bid. If that's not true, then I don't want to cover the sport anymore. How about that?
So. I agree. And the top of that league's pretty good. So hopefully they'll Q2 opportunities on the road,
Yeah, MAC is good. So we'll see what we get from them going forward, but super fun. So I would say as of now, they're a team. They're obviously one of those mid-majors to watch for in March that people love to like latch onto in January, February. They're like, okay, this is the team, but then they start to get almost too much recognition. So we'll see where we go with Miami, Ohio. Other games from the week, really most of them were the weekend to talk through. I think SMU is a good one to talk through. SMU, Carolina. I know you're an ACC guy for sure. I want to get your take first on SMU. Like how good is SMU actually? Because I was impressed by them. I was just so unimpressed by Carolina in that game also.
Yeah, I am definitely the highest on SMU than I have been all season, or even since Enfield's taken the job. Obviously, that's reflected in the rankings, up to 31st in KenPom, 15th best offense. To me, what stood out is, so I saw Boopy Miller play all the time when he was at Wake, and last year I didn't watch SMU a ton just because they always lost to every good team. They were this type of team that beat up on the bad teams and didn't beat anyone good. But this year, adding Pierre in the mix in Washington, the way just having this many guards that can create, like just to keep it simple, like just makes their offense super fun to watch. So when you have 4 guards that can create a shot for themselves off the dribble, inside the arc, or from behind it, and Boopy is so quick, dude, and his decision making is so much better. His 3-point shot looks a little wonky sometimes, but when he crossed Caleb and then hit that 3 was crazy. But it was basically every possession you have Seth Trimble on him, and he's losing Seth Trimble every time there's a ball screen and creating an advantage. Like they are really tough to guard. You get Tolu glue.
Samet, big Samet, yeah, big Turkish
dude with nice touch and some vision that they need a little bit off the bench. I like this freshman Jaden Toombs. Mm-hmm. Maybe they get a 7th guy in the mix, hopefully, but really good backcourt, tough team to guard.
They just feel like I went deep into their analytical profiles today because I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing that it's in their system or something in their style that I'm like, wow, that's what they're so good at. I couldn't figure it out except for the fact that I was like, you know what? Sometimes there are teams that you watch, you don't have to figure it out, and you just say they're cold. They have guys that are cold and are good and get buckets. And Boopy Miller, first of all, my man's name is Kevin, but he goes by Boopy.
He gets mad if you call him Kevin, by the way. He will.
I wouldn't. I'm not going to call him Kevin. If I ever met him, I'd be like, Boop. Nope, Boopy. I don't know. But of course he's going to be clean. He's going to be cold with the name Boopy. He's always been good. I think college basketball people, I remember him at Wake, obviously. He's been good for a minute, but doing it on a national scale of a team that looks like they're going to be a tournament team and probably get into the top 25 or a lot of top 25 votes tomorrow in the poll. Like, this is a big moment for him. I think, like you said, them having Jaron Pierre, Boopy Miller, BJ Edwards, like the 3 of them especially are, they're one of the best backcourts in the entire country, one of the best trios. Like, we're going to talk about who the best trios are. How are they not in the conversation at this point if they just beat Carolina? I think they also lost like LSU earlier in the year. They had a bad loss, but they're obviously a good team. They're probably going to be a tournament team at this rate unless they completely flop the rest of the ACC and lose those really bad games, which they could obviously, but they look legit. I think they're a team where in March, they're probably a 7 seed or something like that as of right now. And if they fall off a little bit, maybe they fall to 8, 9, or 10, that those 1 and 2 seeds are probably we don't want to play them. We don't want to play 3 guards that can all put up 30 in the same game. We'd rather not do that. I don't think teams are going to fear them a ton, but in terms of bracket outlook, I'm thinking about seeing them as a 7 seed. And I'm like, they got Boopy. They got Boopy and they got guys.
And it also just makes me think about how point guard play and senior guards used to like be everything in college basketball. It was like used to be all I cared about, when I was making a bracket and stuff. But we have so many good freshmen this year. Then we had Edie, and we've just had dominant bigs, right? Just kind of being front of mind of like what can you even do against this front line. But like this team has 4 guards that are seniors, and Yigatulu is born in 2004. He's a sophomore, but he's 22.
Yeah.
They're old. These guards are experienced, and like Boopy, he was always good and productive, but like he has reached another level, and it's because he's played a cajillion college games, and it's really cool to see how much better he's gotten. But having this many guards that are old and can do all this that's why they're top 15 offense in the country.
I'm a sucker for old teams in college basketball. And you can find so many of them more now in the power level, but the teams that have like ridiculous experience and guys from all I'm like exactly what you said. I'm like when in doubt in my bracket, I'll be like, I can't figure this game out. This team is twice the age of that team. I'm like, that's grown men. These are grown men. You could go watch LA Fitness Ball. If the skill level is even, the grown men are going to kick the shit out of the kids, whatever. If the skill level is relatively even, like that's how basketball is. I feel like. Do you lean a certain way when you do bracket stuff? Are you looking at it? Do you lean a certain way towards certain teams? Doesn't have to be age, or it could be anything. I'm just curious. I always lean towards old teams, always.
Yeah, I would say when I'm making my Final Four, 3 of the teams in my Final Four always have like a top 15 defense. That's just kind of a historical trend. Like if I'm going to throw that sleeper team in that I always like to, what's like, I don't know, a 5 to 8 seed. Typically it's a team that has older guards and has like a top 20 defense that I think can get hot. Like what UConn, I guess, did with Shabazz. Also, one other side note, I forgot to say this. It kind of relates to SMU. Akron is 18th in the country in minutes continuity, and Miami, Ohio is 4th. It's cool to see mid-major programs who are able to keep players. And
love that.
Like Tavari Johnson is going to be probably the best player in the MAC. This is 4th year at Akron, gotten better every year. Like there's just to the players out there who are going to have decisions this summer, like staying at your school can pay dividends.
Yeah, I talked to the Belmont coach about this on the podcast actually last week. Of like the MVC is a massive proponent of that. They have a ton of roster continuity. I think it's Illinois State returns their 2 best players, and Chase Walker and Johnny Kinzinger. UNI returns, I think, maybe the most in the country. It was a lot of those. Belmont also returned Tyler Lundblade, who probably could have gotten $1 million or close to it from a power school because he's maybe the best shooter in the country or one of the best. If Milan Momcilovic wasn't shooting 90% from 3, maybe he would be. But it's a good point. And it's funny. I pull up the continuity. I'm like, okay, I have the major teams. How many of them are doing well, right? Miami, Ohio is 4th. Yale is 5th. Northern Iowa, who's good, is 6th. Purdue is 7th. Illinois State's 10, who's really good. San Diego State's been shaky, but they're obviously decent. Liberty's up there.
Please skip Marquette.
Marquette is. I was literally gonna be like, Marquette is up there, but Marquette, I think we can let's just act like I didn't see. It's invisible. Nothing's gonna be exact, but UConn, Akron, Iowa State are high up there. Ohio State ranks high up there. Like, it's not as easy as you return everybody, you're good. Houston, Utah State is high. I'm stopping there at 30. But there are so many teams who just bring back so many guys and aren't top programs. Houston and Purdue were the only ones that I mentioned that were legit top programs. That, like you said, I think it's awesome. And it's huge for college basketball because as the transfer portal goes on, I think guys start to see like, oh, anyone could get money. But guys also start to see the bad cases play out more and more and more, where they start to, like the mid-major guys in the MVC, for example, like Lundblade at Belmont. He sees Cade Tyson go to Carolina and then have to go to Minnesota afterwards. Like, he doesn't want to have to go here and then go there. Like, obviously a lot of things happen, and that's a random example, but a big wing shooter transferring from the same school. I didn't even realize that. And maybe it did have influence on him, but it's a great example of like they're starting to see more negatively played out cases, a lot of the mid-major players. So they say, hey, I have a chance to do something special here now. Some of them still have eligibility afterwards. So they say, maybe I'll go after that. This also might get me more pro looks, and I still get paid a decent amount of money being here. Like there's a lot of things that go into it other than just how big is my check and how many people are watching the game on TV. But it's a good point by you. Like the continuity piece is awesome. I like to see that in the mid-majors a lot.
Absolutely.
Other games we had on the weekend, not to get too sidetracked. Let's see. Georgia over Auburn. and Arkansas over Tennessee and Bama over Kentucky, all in the SEC. Any standouts from those games in the SEC?
I think Kentucky is always worth talking about. I definitely felt good about Alabama's ability to get that win. I just love the way they play. They're so good. Aiden Holloway is one of my favorite players watching the country.
He's
And
crazy.
Amari Allen's awesome. I just love Alabama and Kentucky's flaws that we've known. There's still a lot to figure out there. Like, I want more Cam Williams. Jalen Lowe should be starting.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot going on, and I don't know what internally Mark Pope and his staff, what their plan is to get more out of this roster. But with all the talent they have, I'm not going to write them off. But they're very flawed, and they were able to beat a St. John's team that has their flaws, an Indiana team that they just bullied at home. Like, I still have plenty of concerns about this team, but there's such a wide range of outcomes of what's going to happen with their season.
Yeah, Kentucky's so weird. I feel like we talk about them every week on here. I don't even know how else to. I just feel like they have a clear ceiling of they're just not going to be that good. They can't beat great teams, at least consistently. Like, they might get one or two, but their floor isn't awful. Like, people are like, Kentucky sucks. Yeah, I mean, you want them to win the national championship. They spend $22 million on their roster. Sure, that's not good, their outcomes. But if they can beat St. John's and Indiana and beat teams like that and beat half the SEC, they're going to be in the tournament and they can do something. Like, they're not a bad team. It's just bad by Kentucky standard, I think, is the issue. But Alabama, I think, is a good point because, like, people have been asking me, like, how do you have Alabama ranked at 10 in your power rankings? And I've had them at 10 for like 3 weeks in a row. I think they're wildly underrated. Like, Alabama is absolutely ridiculous. I think I trust their size and physicality more than I have in the past years. I am firmly in the camp that I think LeBaron Fallon, maybe not firmly, but LeBaron Fallon to me is the best guard in the country. I don't trust a single other player with the ball in his hands if there's 40 minutes left in the game or if there's 1 minute left in the game. He is a pro. He's smart. He's physical. He's a great passer. He's a 3-level scorer. He's cold. He's built for big moments. He is so damn good, and I don't think he gets enough credit. I think Aiden Holloway's, like you said, how do you enjoy watching other players more than him? Man literally shoots from the parking lot. He's like, honestly, he's basically Curtis Jones from last year. He's literally the same thing. Kind of the same kind of player, explosive, basically can be their best scorer on any given night. Shoots in the parking lot, plays off of vibes. Like, I see that, I read in the spot, see the similarities in that. I think Amari Allen's one of the most underrated freshmen in the entire country. He's like a more versatile piece in their backcourt that is super needed. But even Latrell Wrightsell, Houston Millette, like, their guards are crazy. That is a ridiculous guard group, and they can play 3 or 4 of them at a time. The way Alabama plays, and they also have, like, the reason why I have them at 10 and why I think they're underrated is because their explosiveness is unmatched. They've lost to Purdue at home by 7, Gonzaga in Vegas by 10, and Arizona ended up being 21, but it was like a 5-point game until Braden Burries went absolutely crazy with like 10 minutes left, 11 minutes left in that game, I think it was. So those are 3, you want to call them good losses. Those are 3 of the best losses you can possibly have. And they've beaten everybody else: Kentucky, South Florida, Yale, Clemson, UNLV, Illinois, St. John's. Like, they're so battle tested. They were my pick last week to win the SEC regular season and the SEC tournament. And I'm going to stand by that because I think they're ridiculous and I think they're underrated. So
I love it. I think you accurately rate them. I'm totally on board with you. And of those 3 losses against top 16s in KenPom, other than Michigan, those are probably the 3 worst matchups for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, and think about what Nate Oates is in my top 5 coach in the country, without a doubt. I love the way that they play, and they know defensively what they have to do. Even in that Purdue game where they were kind of getting carved, at least they mixed it up and threw different things at Braden. And, like, you know what I'm saying? And they competed really hard. The way that I see it with Bama is, like, think about the 4-seed Bama team that made the Final Four. They needed to kind of play a perfect game to beat Carolina. Boom, a path opened up because they get Clemson in the Elite Eight, where they also kind of needed to get really hot. But, like, they just need one little break in there to avoid, that one team that maybe had it. And this is a team that could totally make a Final Four. And I love watching them play.
That's a great way to put it, of like, oh, they can't make a Final Four. They're going to have to beat Gonzaga and then UConn and then this team. Like, they might not have to. Like, it's that simple.
And they just need that one game where they do get incredibly hot from deep, which
I was going to say, last year when they played at the game, they played the Sweet 16.
BYU.
Who they play?
BYU.
Was it? I thought Duke. Oh yeah, they played BYU, right? And Sears had 30, whatever. They hit like 30 something three. I've never seen anything like it. And they have a lot of the same guys on their team. And LeBaron, I don't know if he's better than Sears, but like I'd rather him have. I think he is better than Mark Sears. I'd rather him have the ball.
I mean, he's going to go top 10. Sears, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, Sears was amazing. No disrespect.
As a college player, Mark he was so good, unbelievable. He relied so much on body contact, getting to the charity stripe, which again he's smaller. He's not as athletic. He has his style. LeBaron is slithery. He attacks big defenders. Like he's crazy, dude. I love him as like a leader. There's not many players I want leading my team going into March more than him. The rest of the SEC games, Arkansas, we talk about every week on the show because I love Arkansas, and they're either super cold or super hot, and you have highs and lows, and that's kind of how it goes to Arkansas. And I love that they got this win at home. They looked great. I've talked a lot about like their stylistically friendly matchups in the SEC and how Houston is and MSU and Duke aren't, but the teams they're beating like Louisville and Texas Tech are friendly matchups. But I think the thing I took away from the Arkansas-Tennessee game was that they are basically, like I called them gamers. Arkansas is just filled with gamers, especially Darius Acuff. Like that brother is absolutely cold, and he's a young Cal freshman. He like classic Kentucky, quote, Kentucky John Calipari guard that should definitely go lottery in this draft, and people are just finally coming around to considering that, which blows my mind. And they're like, he's a little small, and what about all these other guys? Michael Brown's been hurt, and he has not shooting the three ball well. And with all these guys, he has been so good, Darius Acuff. I feel like he's cementing himself as a lottery pick. But the rest of the team also, I love them as gamers because they are a playoff of vibes team. And if the game is close, and especially when they're at home and the end of the games, I trust them to win 99% of those games because it's just good. The play starts going wild. Trevor Brazile has a big block. They start getting energetic and having hard rotations defensively. Billy Richmond dives on the floor. Darius Acuff hits a big shot like that. I love Arkansas. I love watching them because of stuff like that.
I mean, this is one of my favorite Cal teams in a decent bit. I feel like this is an awesome team, and I'm just trying to picture if this exact roster was Kentucky. You know, would Acuff and some of these guys be being talked about differently? Like they got 3 top 20 wins. Like, yeah, you lost at Michigan State to Duke and to Houston. Like, but wins over Texas Tech, Tennessee, and Louisville. Like I know they played like Samford and went through closer at home. Whatever. That's typical Cal stuff. That's always they always lost to St. Joe's at home when they had like 7 NBA players. No, St. Joe's. Eric Reynolds went nuts. But like this team is incredible, and the fact that Acuff, from my understanding, I don't follow high school basketball super closely. His number one knock was his shot, 44% from deep, and they're taking care of the ball. They're 10th in turnover percentage, and they're like as you say, a let the boys play kind of offense at times too. So it's like they're really good. I'm curious and looking forward to seeing how consistent they are throughout SEC play. It won't really matter to me about the fact that they're a live contender no matter what come March, but I think this is a team that might end up being more consistent than I thought they were capable of earlier on this season.
Yeah, I think they're better defensively, and I don't credit that much to like the system and scheme in place. I credit more to the guys they have. They have like defensive playmakers. Trevor Brazile has been like 95% consistent, and Billy Richmond and Malik Ewan I think has been awesome. I think they definitely need to play Malik Ewan and Billy Richmond, like just play 40 minutes a game at this point. Unless they're in foul trouble, I would just play them 40 minutes. But Trevor Brazile is a great defensive playmaker. Like Darius steps up. I can't get out of that one pull-up three he had when they were up by 2, I think, with like 3 minutes left. I think it was Gillespie's face or someone else's on him. But he, like, how many guards, especially freshmen, have like that it factor in them? Like it's like LeBaron Fallon. It's very, very similar. Where I'm like, okay, he has the ball in his hands. If he's clearing everyone out and no one's moving, no actions on the side, I'm like, this is a bucket. This is literally a bucket, no matter where he is on the floor. It's that simple. Are they a final? I think in SEC play, actually, back to what you said, they will be consistent because the SEC is stylistically friendly to them.
Really good point.
But I fear, it's all matchup. It's everything is matchup dependent in March, but for them, more than 99% of teams, where like if they play a mid-major early like Yale, and then they have to play a Houston again or something like that, that's a problem. Or a UConn, like that, I think that's going to be an issue. But if they get to play teams that like to just keep open and play and whatever, and it's going to be very friendly for them. And you just kind of got to sit and wait for the bracket in that point. But to your point, they could be a 7 seed or a 2 seed. I don't look at them differently at all, unless something drastic has changed.
Right. Oh, that's the thing. Cal plays with fire, though. He's like, I only need 8 players. You know, hopefully we stay healthy because this is the type of team that really it would hurt a lot. If someone...
He does play with fire. Last thing we'll get into real fast before we talk about trios and then a couple of segments before we're out of here. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Michigan and Arizona. They basically just been dominating everybody the entire season so far for the most part, especially as of late. Them, you can put in like Iowa State, UConn, etc., have started to separate themselves at the top. Just generally speaking, not on Michigan or on Michigan and Arizona, but generally speaking first, do you have issues with teams that like almost go wire to wire in the entire season as like the best teams in the country are this good? Because 98% of the time, teams that try to go wire to wire and dominate everybody all season don't end up finishing the job. Like I bring up 2015 Kentucky a lot. They went 38-1, lost in the Final Four, looked like they were never going to win by less than 20 every game. Does that like worry you at all for those teams, or you think these two teams are so beyond what you would normally expect?
I don't fully buy into that. Like I think of UConn 2 years ago, like the one loss they had after Christmas was at Creighton by like 20 when like Ashworth and everyone was just going nuts. Like, sure, maybe that there's a argument that helped them to just kind of get a loss out of their system, know what that feels like. Like I'm definitely on board with if that happens to a Michigan, Arizona to not overreact to that at all. But my thing with them is it's not a priority for me to watch them until they're playing someone that I think has a chance. You know what I'm saying? And I do think Arizona's going to get to play BYU, Kansas, Texas Tech, Houston, Iowa State. Like I will be,
tapped in. I'm locked in.
But like I just have no interest in watching Arizona, TCU, or like I have no interest in watching Michigan, Wisconsin, like or Indiana. Michigan doesn't play anyone that I think has a sniff at keeping it within double digits until Nebraska.
When is that?
And then Michigan State. So at the end of January.
It's a good point. I feel the same way for the most part. We're like, I'll tap in for a little while, especially like when they start like a 6:30 FS1 game or Peacock or something like random times. And I'm like, I'll just watch for a little while. And then Michigan's up by 30. I'm like, I'm not watching this. Like I'll watch the extended highlights afterwards. I know exactly how they play, what they're good at, what they're bad. Like I know who they are. It's a good point. I think we'll get the BYU, the Big 12 ones with Arizona quicker, obviously, like the BYU one in a few weeks.
You going to that? Maybe.
I'm trying to. You want to go?
Jacob told me he's trying to go to that too.
I told him to come. You want to go?
I don't think I can swing it, but what's
Come on, Kenny? We need ask for days off. All right, it's on the table. Utah State plays home on Wednesday night, also. So I'm trying to do the double.
Oh, that's perfect.
This is the first time publicly saying that. People have been trying to get me to the state of Utah for so many reasons. I'm trying for that Monday, Wednesday, the end of January, because there's somewhere else on Saturday I want to go also, which is on the West Coast, which I will keep to myself for now.
Getting to BYU for this season would, I feel like, just be one of the best environments in the country.
It's Marriott Center for that Arizona Big 12 Monday night game that they do when nothing else is on. It's going to be absolutely bonkers for that one. But yeah, I don't know back to what I was saying, like, I don't think about that if the bracket's out, if Arizona and Michigan both have one loss in the year, they're undefeated, they're 1 seeds. I don't look at it and be like, oh, you know what? They've been too good for too long. Like last year, Auburn died off a tiny bit. They reached a clear peak. I think it was like January-ish, and they started to take a couple losses and looked like they had a lot of vulnerabilities to where it wasn't like in March, you're like, oh, Auburn's the best team in the country by a landslide. Granted, the 3 other 1 seeds were so good also, so it's like you don't really usually get that. But we could have something similar this year. And if Michigan and Arizona continue this, I won't knock them like you're saying, but it's in the back of my mind. It's always in the back of my mind of like, they've been so good for so long. These teams historically do not win the title. So I don't know. We'll kind of see what we get. And we'll know more in like a month from now, I feel like. We talked about what kind of year it's been in college basketball. It feels like a bit, I don't see anyone talk about this. It's low-key been a year of the trios, I have noticed in college basketball, where you look at a lot of the top teams, a lot of the teams in the top 25, it feels like the trios are running the show. So I thought it'd be fun for us to talk through and rank the best trios in the country, whether we have to give a top 3 and in what facets of the game what trios do we like in each facet of the game, if that makes sense.
Cool.
I wrote down, I honestly just like started writing down a huge list, and I was like, I'm just writing down the top 25 teams. What am I doing here? Like, I'm just writing down every team. Although some teams don't rely on trios as much. Like Michigan's a tough one. Like, it's Yaxel, Mara, and is it Merez? Is it all three centers, or is it Elliott as the third guy? Like, it's probably the three centers, right?
Well, it just depends how we're defining trio in the sense of like their synergy. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say those are Michigan's three best players, but you kind of have to go in there when you think about the way the team's constructed. Like BYU, it's pretty clear who the trio is. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know.
I don't classify Michigan as a trio. That's kind of where I got to. I was like, you can't really put them in this because they're really like a five, like a group of five or a group of six that are all just great in every way, analytically, whatever. You look it up. They have a mix of all their different three-man lineups that are all equally good to the next one. So I feel like it's a good point. The standout trios, let's list them out, and then we'll kind of rank them and talk about which one's best and which. The BYU one is an obvious one. AJ DeBanza, Richie Saunders, Rob Wright the third. They don't have a lot of depth beyond that, and it really is just them three carrying them completely. Texas Tech might even have worse depth at this point that they rely on. It's Christian Anderson, your boy, JT Toppin, and Lawan Watts, who has stepped up a lot lately. Probably the best 1-2 punch in the country. And now Lawan stepping up puts them in the best trio conversation, I'd say. Iowa State, obviously, Taman Lipsey, Milan Momcilovic, and Joshua Jefferson is a big one. The Purdue Big Three with Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Trey Kaufman-Wren, although Oscar Clough has been very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting Clough in there over. See, I don't want to devalue Fletch, but like Oscar Clough is literally first in offensive rating and second in offensive rebounding. He's been a freaking monster. He's like the Australian 7-foot Edie.
For what it's worth, their analytically best trio is Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Oscar Clough.
There you go.
And then, but if you put a minimum on a really high volume, it's TKR. So I feel like the trio is still TKR to talk about in this conversation, at least I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say. And that's probably a knock on them if you don't know who the third guy is. Like, it's like, and it's not for like amazing reasons. Like Trey hasn't been amazing. So that's kind of part of the reason by it. But Purdue's Big Three. Bama, honestly, I put Bama in here because LeBaron, Aiden, and Amari Allen's been excellent. I think he's their clear third best player. Those three guards together. Carolina, Caleb, Henry Vasar, and then I guess Seth Trimble when he's healthy, but he hasn't been super healthy the entire season. Beyond that, is there any other three that you'd want to put in? Like maybe the Nebraska three, Rink Mass, Price Sanford, and Jamarcus Lawrence, maybe, or anyone else?
Well, Darren Peterson, Trey White, or Darren Peterson, Melvin Council, Flory Badunga should be up there, I think. Or maybe
the Duke trio, maybe Boozer, Cam Boozer, Isaiah Evans, and Patton Gogba is definitely their best three, I'd say.
I'm trying to think who UConn's would be. Would it be
Solo, Caravan,
and Terrace? But then it's like South.
They're like Michigan though. It's okay, and it's okay. It's not. We're not saying Michigan and UConn aren't as good as these teams. No shit. Like obviously they are. It's just the best trios because a lot of times like we talk about best player in March. Like a lot of times in the trio in the March, like it can come down to one or two guys winning you games. That's what Texas Tech did last year. Like and that's how they won and got the Elite Eight and almost the Final Four. Like that's what teams do.
What I like about the Iowa State, BYU, and Texas Tech ones, it's like these guys are like the absolute engine of this team, and it's like role players and supporting cast around them.
Yeah.
Sometimes other teams, they're the best examples of teams like built that way. I'm trying to think of like a sleeper team that's like built that same UCLA, maybe Donovan Dent, Sky Clark, and Bilodeau. And it's
They've not been good enough, but yeah, you're probably right.
I'm high on that. We'll get to them later, but like I'm just saying that's like a trio.
Yeah. Houston guards, I think, is a good one to put in also. Yeah. I think their three best players are very clearly Kingston Flemings, Miles Uzon, and Emmanuel Sharp. That's a disgusting group of guards to have also. The only other one I wrote down was Arizona. I guess Jaden Bradley, Braden Burries, and Koa Pete. I don't know. Yeah. But again, they're a team that kind of feels like the Michigan UConn thing that it would be a disservice to talk about them as a group of three rather than a group of 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that.
Right. Just Waka and Cretus have been so good too.
Exactly. So, and that's okay. But best trio in the country. How about that? We'll go start with overall best trio in the country. Who would you go with?
I'll go Iowa State. I think they've just been incredible. Joshua Jefferson's up to second in KenPom Player of the Year. Lipsey, like you can't box score watch with him because it's never gonna pop. He was actually scoring a lot at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
but just his impact on the game at his position, another senior guard, like is just high level. And like you said, Momchilovic doesn't miss. Like I don't, he literally doesn't miss. He is so dialed right now.
He actually might be the best shooter I've ever seen. He's shooting like 56% from three. And I saw all the other shooters that have like a minimum of like 20 attempts have, or a minimum of 20 attempts in his range are all below like 50 attempts or less. And he's over 100 attempts already. Like I have legitimately never seen a shooter like him in my entire life in college basketball ever. Maybe Jimmer was different because he was like the best player on the team and he was driving. He was doing a million different things also.
I'm looking, nobody's shooting like at the top, like guys shooting like over 48%, like crazy numbers, like who's actually hit as many as him.
Is
And
anyone close?
Tyler Nichols, the one guy that I'll throw in the conversation.
That's
Tyler
your guy.
Number 2. Oh, absolutely, he is my guy. He's elite.
He is nice too.
He's the second best shooter in the country for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Milan really is crazy. I am with you. I think Iowa State. I think the best trio is Iowa State. Also, I think obviously the team success, the analytical profiles are there, but the biggest thing for me is the balance between the three of them. Obviously, they've been together for a couple of years now, but Josh Jefferson is he's a front court player. He's super versatile. You have an experienced guard leader who's a really good defender also in Taman, and who he is Ames, Iowa. Then you have the wing dynamic, explosive scorer and shooter. Like they fit each other so well where you can't say that for any other trio in the country for as well of a fit as what they need. And like you said before, it helps that TJ's built this team and system around them so well. Killian Toure is awesome. He's like low key just as good as these three players and as important for sure. Even Blake Buchanan and like Nate Heisey, like they built the team so well that it helps with their team success. But their trio is so good. Like they could not be playing better. I just hope they stay healthy because that was their issue last year. They got a couple injury issues in late January and in the early February. And then all of a sudden they're a 3 seed instead of what could have been a low 1 or high 2 seed. But I agree, it's the best trio in the country for sure.
Quick shout out to Blake Buchanan, who I thought was like pretty whatever at Virginia. Like that signing didn't move me, but he has been perfect playing in the system. I guess the one thing is kind of hedging and being aggressive in ball screen coverage the same way that Virginia played was the translation, but he's been in double figures 4 straight games, protecting the rim a bit. Shout out him. He's been a great piece.
Production wise, trios that are best. SMU talked about it. Jaron Pierre, Boopy Miller, and BJ Edwards producing next to the most, if not the most, of any trio in the country because they just score so much. The Texas Tech trio for sure. I mean, JT Toppin and Christian Anderson score over 40 points a game together. And now if Lawan's going to give you 15 a game, at least, like that's not fair.
And then I guess Wagler, Boswell, Stojakovic, another one.
I guess I don't feel the gut eye test synergy and chemistry between those three like I do with the other trios.
That's fair.
But it's still a good shout to put, like we said, a bunch of other guys in here. Team success, this is where you can talk about Michigan, Arizona trios, but in terms of trios, it would probably be the Iowa State trio and the Purdue trio so far, but I'm not going to bring that up for Purdue fans and how that went, why one is better than the other. We mentioned Iowa State for balance. Offense and defense, do you think, like defense for me would be, I mean, could be argue the Iowa State one, but I'd say the Houston one between the 3 guards for me personally. And offensively, I'd probably say the BYU one between Richie, Rob, and AJ Debanza. But how do you feel?
Aligned with BYU. Houston, I would give it to if it was Tugler, but
good fair play.
Sneaky, maybe North Carolina's with Trimble, Wilson, and Visar defensively.
Yeah, that's a good one actually, and I think they deserve more. We haven't been talking to them. I feel like they're like second or third in a lot of these categories, behind a lot of the other trios where they're up there. At this point, we might as well let's each rank our top 5. You want to do that?
Sure, you go first.
All right. We'll start with number 1, Iowa State. You also have Iowa State, right?
Yes.
Okay, we both have Iowa State at 1. I'm doing this on the fly, by the way. Number 2, I'll go with BYU. AJ Debanza, Richie Saunders, Rob Wright III. I think you could argue a couple other teams. The fact that they rely more on their trio than probably any other trio in the entire country because of their lack of depth, or maybe next to Texas Tech and a couple other teams. But it shines a light on this trio even more. But they are unbelievable. This team goes as far as that trio and nothing else.
Yep, they're my number 2 as well.
This is going to be a boring segment for everybody. Number 3. This is tough. I have Texas Tech at number 3 because I'm a huge believer in Lawan Watts. I have loved him. I think he's finally started to pick it up, and he's playing a little bit more of that Darian Williams versatility role that they recruited him to be and wanted him to be. And Christian Anderson and JT Toppin are the best two-man duo in the entire country. And Christian Anderson, our boy, is playing better than he could ever imagine. He's playing unbelievable right now. So I'm going Texas Tech.
That's my one switch I'll do. I'll put Purdue ahead of Texas Tech.
Okay, fair play. I have Purdue at 4 for the record. I think I'm underrating personally, and people underrate how good of a trio they have been together and how much that continuity and the experience is going to go a long way in Big Ten playing into March potentially. So you have them 3, Texas Tech 4.
Oh shoot! I realized that that wasn't the top 5, but yes, that's my 3-4.
What, did we skip someone?
No, I just counted wrong. I thought we were one ahead.
Okay, 5. Man, you could put the Houston guards, put the Bama guards, Arizona, Michigan. I won't put in here. I'm gonna go with the Houston guards. I think the versatility of like dynamic ability in a way, just versatility in general between the 3 guards. Kingston Flemings is the best player on their team. Freshman. He's probably the best balance offense and defense too. Emmanuel Sharp, the sniper, and Miles Hughes on a little bit more of that like pace setter, one guard and playmaker. I think they have really good versatility and balance between them. I still don't love their offensive system for March, but they haven't had 3 guards together like this in a while. So I'll go with the Houston guards.
I'm going rogue for number 5. Tyler Tanner, Tyler Nickel, Duke Miles.
I honestly had them written down, and it's on the side of my document. And I was like, how did you not bring them up earlier? But how can you argue against that? It's like they've been ridiculous.
I'm so excited for that game against Bama on Wednesday night.
That's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. So that's our top trios. We'll break real fast, and then we'll get into the fun segments. All right.
I'm excited for Panic Excitement. That's my favorite clip from the show. I watch it every week.
Yeah, everyone loves the panic meter and the excitement scale. So why not bring you on to it? You know what I'm saying? We do panic meter first, by the way. I hope you know that.
That's good.
Okay, panic meter first. You know how it works, right? I don't need to explain it.
0 to I understand the scale. I don't know if you've defined the scale in a way that I maybe don't.
You can make up whatever you want. So on the excitement scale, a couple weeks ago, AJ DeBansa for me was an AJ out of 10 because he broke the scale.
Okay.
But it's usually a 1 through 10, and yeah, exactly.
In my debut, I'll stay away from breaking the scale unless I get moved. Vanderbilt might make me break.
Yeah, unless Vandy's on it, which who knows. Let's start with the panic meter. Panic meter. That's what we say. I go, we're worried. First one up, Kentucky, because Kentucky. How do you feel about Kentucky? They lost to Alabama. They look like they had their ass kicked after beating St. John's and Indiana and looking maybe okay. How do you feel about Kentucky?
I'm like a 7. The reason it's not higher is just because I feel like I already peaked my panic on them. So this is like I'm leaving. The reason it's not higher is a little bit of optimism that they're going to play better than this, but my expectations are lower for sure.
I'm at a 7 also, not to cop out and say the same thing, for the exact same reason of like, I've been at a 9, I've been at a 5. At this point, we just kind of know what they are, I think, in January, and we know what we're going to get out of them. So I think that's totally fair. The next one we have is a team that they beat. We have the Johnnies, St. John's, after their home loss against Providence with Bryce Hopkins on their roster.
Like, I'm going to go with a 7 again. My number one concern with them is just Pitino being a bit of a boomer in the sense of stubborn with his approach to building this roster and just adjusting it. Like it's so Zuby reliant right now. I think guys like Sellers and Sannon and Jackson can play a lot better still, and the Big East is weak. They still are a top 3 team in the Big East at worst. So I still think they can figure it out, but I don't think they're that good.
I'm at a 9 because top 3 team in the Big East might not be a tournament team this year. It legitimately might be, like, it probably will be just in, but that's a bubble team that you're explaining. And right now, Villanova is absolutely the second best team in the conference, and that's a travesty for a St. John's team that was getting a ton of votes to win the conference and people's confidence to compete and win a national title. Like, people wanted them to win a national title this year and get to a Final Four. They are not doing that. There is no chance that is happening. So I'm at a 9 because I have fully accepted that they're not actually that good, sadly, like you said. Florida, oh boy, Florida lost to Missouri, I think it was, by what, 2? They lost to Mizzou this past weekend. They've lost to UConn, Duke, TCU, Arizona. They've beaten Miami, FSU. Every loss is so close. Lost by 6, by 4, by 1, by 4, by 2. It feels like they're a possession away. How are you rating your panic on Florida?
I'm a 2 panic because I don't think they played well at all against Mizzou, and they still were up with 3 minutes left, and they still were up big on Zona, right? They're right there against Duke and UConn, and I still just don't think they've been that good. They're so good on the glass, and they're top 10 defense, and they're shooting 28% from deep. If they can shoot a little bit better from deep, obviously that would be huge. But honestly, with Fland and Boogie just are not good enough in all phases of the game. It's not just about 3-point shooting. They have not been good enough defensively. They have not been good enough at setting guys up. So I don't think Florida has that high of a ceiling, but I'm not panicked. I still think they're going to be a top 15 team all season.
Yeah, I like to hear that confidence. I'm at like a 4.5 because like I go back and forth. I agree with you for the most part that like they're a possession away playing some of their worst basketball that they possibly can, and hopefully they can figure it out. I believe Todd Golden is still one of the best coaches in the country, obviously, and then they will get it figured out. I just also think some part of me is like maybe this team really was just so Walter Clayton reliant and so Elijah Martin and Will Richard reliant. Like they were so good for the entire season last year. I don't know. I have mixed feelings. That's why I'm at a 4.5, but most of me feels like they're just not playing up to their standard and ceiling right now that they can and will be at some point in the year, even if it's for a short period of time, and they're going to get better, hopefully. So I like to hear that you're at a 2 on them. That makes me happy.
But I don't know. Now I'm thinking more.
Oh, great.
They had 3 NBA guards last year. Now they have 0, in my opinion. No disrespect.
No, you're right. You're completely right.
So, I just think Howe is so good, and I still think they can play so much better.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Let's go to a team you mentioned earlier that you are high on, UCLA. After their basically blowout loss at Iowa, they are 36 in KenPom. They are 10-4 on the year. Their best win is over Washington and Oregon or Arizona State, I guess it would be, or Sac State. That's their best win. I'm just kidding. UCLA, where's your panic at?
A 2. I love this team. They're one of my favorite buy lows right now. They're
Enlighten me.
I think they're a top 25 team. Yes, they lost by 13 to Iowa. They were down like 24 in the first half. They were terrible in the first half, but they were so good. They were the better team for a good chunk of that game. Donovan Dent looked the best he'd look in a UCLA uniform. He was carving up this defense. I think they're really tough to guard when Bilodeau's at the 5. The problem is the production from Booker and Jamerson has just not been there. But Jamar Brown, I made a video about him this week. He's one of my favorite players in the country. Trent Perry's really good. And Sky Clark, he got banged up. Hopefully he's fine. But he's been playing at an incredibly high level. I think that this is a top 6, 7 team in the Big Ten that could be frisky in coming March.
I'm happy you said that because we've been agreeing on too much this episode. I can't have my panic that low because, again, they were a team that was getting a lot of love in the top 10 to 15 in the country to start the year. And Donovan Dent is one of the best transfers in the country. I am very excited for Donovan Dent. You were so right. After those first, 5 shots he took or something like that, or those first 10 minutes, it was the best we've seen him in a UCLA jersey yet. And I'm praying he's fully healthy. That's not going to hold him back now, and he can just absolutely fry in Big Ten play. I still don't think it's enough, and they're not going to be up to any kind of standard we want them to be. I'm at about a 5.5 because they're going to be fine. They're going to be a tournament team. I'm not going to overreact, but I am still a little bit worried and not fully panicking on them. I'm just not as in on them as you are, but I could see it working out. So that makes sense to me. Let's go to one that I can't imagine we're both going to be low on the rating, at least. NC State. 10-5. They just got their doors blown off at home versus Virginia. Their best win is, I guess, your Wake Forest team or VCU, Boise, Liberty. They actually don't have a terrible resume. Those are good wins, but they got their doors blown off against UVA at home without Jakari White. Where are you at with NC State?
I'm a 8, and it's not because of Darian Williams' numbers. It's my psychological and film analysis of it. He is such a different player than he was in Texas Tech, and it's because of the system and the guys around him. At Texas Tech, he was so good playing pick and pop, playing off Anderson and Hawkins, right? playing bully ball on the block. Now everything is so forced. You can clearly tell he's not playing well. We paid him a bunch of money. He's supposed to be our best player. We got to draw up all this stuff for him. It's him running off screens or trying to create and take a mid-range off the bounce and pick and roll. That's not Darian Williams. Now there's got to be mind games to it. It's psychological. When you were just had great vibes at Texas Tech for 2 years, right? And you're killing it, and you're in all these perfect positions to succeed, one of the best offenses in the country, and now you're on a team where you're just trying to make it work. It's just an awkward fit. Will Wade's a good coach. They're good defensively, whatever. They'll be in the mix, but and the team can shoot, but the fit with Darian, I have serious concerns.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm at an 8 because I was obviously very high on them. They're a friend of the program, but we call it how it is here. You're so right about Darian's role, where he's better as a 1B or a 2, if you want to call it that, in whatever way, where everything it is kind of forced, and offensively they're not good enough and not deep enough with firepower and tons of great talent to take the attention off of him at all. And then teams know where it's coming from. My worries actually also mostly come from the defensive end. They have looked so poorly defensively from a coach and coaching staff that I know is a good defensive coaching staff, and they've been known for that at McNeese and even every other year for LSU every now and then. Their defensive rotations are awful. They are getting split and converging and running all over the place with no organization half the time, and Virginia was just carving it up so easily. So that was really, really alarming after this game. And if they can't compete with the Virginia team, they're going to be like a 9 or 10 seed, and they will get in the tournament. I think they'll be fine, but they'll end up being like an 8 or 9 seed, and like that's not good. Like, can they beat a 1 seed at this rate? No, they can't. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it should get a little better. I still have some confidence there, but I'm at 8 or 8.5, whatever I said.
Everyone's been disappointing except for Paul McNeil and Copeland. Like, I was really high on Matt Abel. I was high on Arsenault getting,
Matt Abel.
I was high on Holloman.
Yeah, it's been rough for more than just Darian. I don't want like, it's a good point not to just like single him out. It's all his fault. It's not his fault. He's a great player. System isn't really fitting him, and the rest of the team isn't doing well either for the most part. One last on the panic meter, the Mountain West. Hit me.
Oh, just in general, the Mountain West?
Just the conference.
Like a 4. Like, I think Boise's getting frisky. Like, Boise's getting frisky. They lost in triple overtime to San Diego State. San Diego State is going to be a top team in this conference. Utah State is going to get in at large. Nevada's playing better. UNLV I know you made a video about them preseason. Is just one of the weirdest teams. Like, I think they're kind of good. New Mexico, they're going to be fun. Colorado State's like
they're fun. They are fun.
Like the 7th ranked team in the league, and they're like the best 3-point shooting team in the country. I think they got a lot of decent teams, but they're not going to get multiple. I don't think they'll get more than 2 or 3 in.
Yeah. I'm at like an 8.5 for the Mountain West. I love Utah State. I have zero confidence in anybody else being consistent right now. And even Utah State, like, the conference is still good. So San Diego State, Colorado State, Boise can and probably still will beat Utah State once or twice or something. And that scares me because those losses now aren't good for Utah State. Yeah. And then it tanks their seeding. And then they're going to get 2 teams in total to the NCAA tournament. Boise State, I will not forget the Hawaii Pacific loss. We will not forget it. We will not forget it. But that's the type of team they are too. Like, they're hot and cold and all over the place. San Diego State offensively is usually cold. They can be hot, like they were a little bit on Saturday. Like, the conference is an absolute shit show. Even if there are 7 teams that are relatively good in terms of the grand scheme of college basketball, not good enough to be a conference worth worrying about outside of maybe Utah State in the NCAA tournament. So that's why I'm worried about them. Let's turn the page. Let's get a little positive. Excitement scale. Woo! That's our excitement scale. Let's start off with Vanderbilt. You're a Vandy guy. Hit me on your excitement. 1 out of 10, Vandy.
I'm going to go 10 because, yes, they just won at South Carolina, like whatever, but it was without Duke Miles and Frankie Collins. Hopefully those guys are back soon. I think Duke should play against Bama, but it was good to see, Tyler in an even higher usage situation. He had 14 assists. And guess what? SMU and UCF got huge wins over Carolina and Kansas, and Vandy made light work of UCF. They won by 12 and dropped 105 on them, and they beat SMU by 19. Like, they're 5th on KenPom now, like from work that they didn't even do. Like, they are so fun. I'm so excited for this Bama game. Just 2 of my favorite teams to watch in the country.
Yeah, I'm at a Christian out of 10. That's my rating for Vanderbilt, just because I'm just going to be where you're at. I am excited for them. I'm very excited to watch them play Alabama, and I know they're good. The country will learn about them. Whether they win or lose that game, it's going to be awesome to watch. How about Georgia staying in the SEC? Where are you at with Georgia? because they have played a garbage schedule for the most part, but Georgia is 26th on KenPom. They are 13-1 and just beat Auburn in overtime, even though they should have choked. They basically did choke the game away in regulation.
Yeah, that was nuts. That shot by
That was crazy.
I'm like a 6 on Georgia. I think they're really good. They're really tough to play against. When you talk about the SEC game environments, like there's a lot of just up and down teams. So it'll be interesting to see them play more games, kind of like that one against Auburn. But really, really good backcourt. And Samto is a monster in the interior as well.
That is not a college-age child, I swear. But then again, there's no rules anymore, so it doesn't matter. But he's a monster. He's a monster. I don't know what I'm at. What'd your score? What was your score for them?
I was a 6.
I'm at like a 4. I'm at a 3.5, I'll say. I just like I can't, something in me can't get around to being so excited for a team that beat Auburn in overtime. They've beat Xavier by 1 and they've lost to Clemson. Like I watch them too. I'm like, they are fun and I think they're good. I don't know how good they're going to be. If they play this style against Bama, I think Bama should torch them. But I don't know if that's entirely true because like they're so good at the speed they're playing. I don't know. I'm very confused on them. So 3.5 because I don't want to jump the gun a little bit. And I'll gladly be wrong if I'm wrong about them. Let's go SMU. We just talked about them. They just beat North Carolina. 31st in KenPom. They have losses to LSU and Vandy, but they have a couple of decent wins, including a big win over North Carolina. I'm up there. I'm at like a 6 for SMU. I didn't expect them to be a tournament team, and now I fully expect them to be a safe tournament team. So
I'll go 7 because I feel like I'm starting to look around college basketball and realize that this backcourt really is one of the best in the country. And I'm looking at the ACC, feels a little bit open. You got Michael Brown's back a little wonky. Like there's a world that this is the second best team in the conference. I don't think that's crazy to say.
I mean, they beat Carolina and like UVA. I don't know when Jakari's come back, but it's kind of like it feels like Duke right now, small gap, and then like 2 through like 8 or something like that. We're down to like maybe where Virginia Tech is or something. It's kind of like
really tight
there. Yeah, that's fair. What do we have next? Iowa. Let's go. We have 2 more teams. Iowa up to 17th on KenPom, 12-2. They just beat UCLA pretty handily, like we said. I'm excited for Iowa personally. I'm at an 8 on them because I didn't expect it to be this dominant at all, even on the best night possible versus a UCLA team like that. I think seeing it early in Big Ten play versus one of the better Big Ten teams, like we talked about earlier, it gives me a lot of confidence. And Bennett Sturts is 100% that dude. So
he's insane. Like that's my one kind of reason. I'm gonna say I'm a 4, and the reason I'm not higher is because he went for 27 in this one and like 28 against Ole Miss. I just feel like he has to kind of be a god for them to win against these good teams. Yet he seems to be that guy almost.
You have to just accept it. You just have to accept it.
But you've got Illinois and Purdue coming up. Like I think there's a chance Iowa loses both those by double digits. But
yeah,
I'm open to being surprised. They only lost by 4 at Iowa State. So
yeah, that's the thing with Iowa, and obviously what was Drake. I've so quickly, once they beat Missouri, I came to the fact that like they literally don't need anyone else on the team. They could play 1 versus 5, and they're gonna end up winning these games.
Shout out Isaiah Howard, by the way, one of my favorite sneaky guys off the bench right now.
Am I gonna see a video on him soon?
Maybe
if he's lucky. Last one on the excitement scale: Villanova, who looks like the second best team in the Big East. The Villanova fans hate me. They think I hate Villanova. I don't. I was cautious, and I think rightfully cautious, and I still am. I'll give you a 9, Villanova. How about that? Because you are an NCAA tournament team this year because the Big East sucks and you don't suck. So therefore you are immediately the second best team in the Big East. So I'll give you a 9.
Pass the hate on to me. I'll give them a 4. I think they're good. Like I want to give flowers to the way Kevin Willard's handled this job and built this roster. Like I didn't think Duke Brennan was going to be able to translate this well to Power 5 basketball. I didn't think Devin Askew had anything left in the tank.
I can't believe he's still playing.
What'd you say? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, yeah.
Cunningham's recruiting class. Like, what are we
insane? It's insane.
And Matt Hodge is really fun. This Belgian guy who comes up, he can really shoot it. Caden Lewis looking more comfortable. Bryce Lindsey, man, not to make it about Florida again, but I'm like, why Florida getting a guy like him would have been really good. Just he's a lights out 3-point shooter.
He is crazy. He is insane. I love him and Caden Lewis are awesome. There's not a deep team, but they don't need to be in the Big East. I think they're good. They're not amazing, but again, They're going to be a tournament team for sure. Better than
Yeah, I mean, I only said good things about him with my 4. Like, I just don't. I think they're playing great, but like, they don't move me. Like, I don't think there's anything to get really excited about. But they're obviously a very good team and the second best team in this league.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it. Panameter and excitement scale. Christian, I'm going to let you go now. Appreciate you for hopping on for the first time. Won't be the last time, though, okay?
It was a pleasure. Thank you to the blue-blooded audience, and thank you, Ryan.
Of course, ODJ Hoops. Go give him a follow, and we'll be right back with a couple more segments, then we'll be out of here, okay? That was my good man, Christian Odjakjian. Awesome guy. One of the up-and-comers in college basketball content on social media. Does great stuff all over the place. And he works with Kenny Beecham and the Enjoy guys. So a lot going on with him. Check his stuff out. Great guy on top of being great at what he does now, too. Let's get right into homework, schedule for the week, and Q&A, and we'll be out of here. Homework. Here's your homework for the week. Games to watch. It is a loaded one. Let me crack my knuckles. Stretch, and I'm ready to roll. Okay. Monday, Nebraska at Ohio State. USC at Michigan State. Tuesday, you got Duke at Louisville. Georgia at Florida. St. John's Butler. GW Dayton. Texas Tech Houston. Hello. And San Diego State at Nevada. Wednesday, you got UConn at Providence in the Big East. Belmont, UNI in the MVC. Iowa State, Baylor. Creighton, Nova. Bama at Vandy is a huge one. And then Saturday, we got Nebraska, Indiana. Tennessee at Florida. I will be there in Gainesville. VCU, George Mason. Houston, Baylor. SMU, Duke. St. John's, Creighton. Stanford, UVA. Arkansas, Auburn. UNI, Bradley. Texas Tech at Colorado. BYU, Utah. And then Sunday, Illinois at Iowa. Over to Adam for the sicko schedule. Adam. That's right. Adam's not here. Okay. Sicko schedule from Adam himself. Monday, you got Columbia at Cornell. Stephen F. Austin at McNeese, who he says are the 2 runaway best teams in the Southland. I agree. Tuesday, you got Bowling Green at Kent State in the MAC. Thursday, UC Davis at UC Santa Barbara. And San Francisco at Loyola Marymount. Friday, Miami, Ohio, back on the table at Toledo. Saturday, Utah Tech at Utah Valley. UNI at Bradley. Did I already mention that one? Hilarious. We got the same game. UNI at Bradley on both slates. MTSU at New Mexico State. And UC Irvine at Hawaii, which we love. That is your homework for the week. Let's get on to Q&A, and we'll be out of here. Brock Taylor on Instagram says, can the YouTube lives be multiple times a week thing? Love the Q&A involvement. This is my first time seeing most of these, 3 of these questions, by the way. Absolutely, I can if we really like that stuff. Viewership's been solid enough to keep it going, and I thoroughly enjoy them, and I think it's a very conversational, fun way to just get engaged. I've been doing it as like a weekend preview, but maybe I'll just do straight Q&A the entire time. I think that'd actually be a lot of fun and give people a chance to kind of get their questions answered and connect with me more. So I like that question. Shout out to you, Brock. Stephen Goldsmith also on Instagram says, favorite mid-major gym? Favorite gym in New Jersey? Great question. I haven't been to enough of like the really banging ones. Princeton happens to be in New Jersey. Jadwin Gymnasium is probably my favorite mid-major one off the top of my head, and also my favorite in New Jersey. There aren't a ton. Seton Hall plays at a hockey arena at Prudential Center. Rutgers, the Rack, or Jersey Mike's is not bad. Monmouth, NJIT, St. Peter's, but Jadwin Gymnasium, my favorite gym in New Jersey, and my favorite mid-major gym. I think you're talking about arenas, not the gym I actually go to, I would imagine. Russell Neiman on Twitter, what 1 to 3 seed is the most susceptible to lose early in March? Great question. I have not thought about this at all or saw this question. 1 through 3 seed as of now. Let's pull up the bracket matrix because I want to get a full, like, what I'm talking about, like a full trusted seed line. Michigan, Arizona, UConn, Iowa State as 1s. Duke, Gonzaga, Purdue, Vanderbilt as 2s. Michigan State, BYU, Houston, Nebraska as 3s. I don't want to say Nebraska. I feel like Houston and Michigan State are the 1 through 3 seeds on bracket matrix, at least, that I think would be the most susceptible to losing early. They won't lose early. What am I saying? Those teams won't lose early. They just have a lower ceiling as of right now, I think. I think Vanderbilt, I guess Vandy, the way they play, can be stopped, I think, in some capacity with really nasty defensive teams, like a Hawaii, if Hawaii got to the NCAA tournament. But I don't think that any team can really compete with them. Any 15 seed could compete with a Vanderbilt or maybe even a 14 seed. But Vandy, maybe. Otherwise, like maybe Nebraska, but I don't really feel comfortable saying that either, but I guess I'll go with Vandy and I'll say that. Slim Evans on Twitter says, with this year being dubbed the unofficially as the year of the point guard, who would you say are the two? Oh wait, with this year being dubbed unofficially as the year of the point guard, who would you say are the 5 best in America this year? Great question. In no order, LeBaron Philon, Braden Smith, Tamin Lipsey have to be there. I think Christian Anderson has to be there. And then there's a long list of like Bennett Sturts, Darius Acuff, Boopy Miller's up there the way he's playing right now. Rob Wright, Donovan Dent hasn't been great, so I can't put him in there yet. Kingston Flemings, Tyler Tanner at Vanderbilt, Bruce Thornton at Ohio State. I go LeBaron. I'll go in the 5 in no order: LeBaron, Braden Smith, Christian Anderson, Tamin Lipsey. The 5th one, I'd probably go with Bennett Sturts, although those other guys I mentioned, like Acuff and those guys, are right there. In order, I would say, it's hard to say anyone but Braden Smith is the best point guard in the country, but I'm telling you, there's something about LeBaron Philon that I always want the ball in his hands, but I feel the same way with Braden Smith a little bit. I'll go LeBaron at 1, Braden at 2, more like a 1A, 1B. I will go Christian Anderson at 3, Tamin Lipsey at 4, Bennett Sturts at 5. I feel comfortable with that. Top 5 point guards in the entire country. It really is the year of the point guard. That's crazy because I mentioned those guys: LeBaron, Braden, Christian Anderson, Tamin Lipsey, Bennett Sturts, and then Darius Acuff, Boopy Miller, Tyler Tanner, Kingston Flemings, Rob Wright, Jacoby Gillespie, Donovan Dent, Bruce Thornton. I could go on and on and on and on. There are so many good point guards in college basketball this year. Jaden Bradley. Oh my God, I didn't mention Jaden Bradley at all. Jaden Bradley's up there. Am I missing anybody else at especially those top teams? Kylan Boswell has been really good also. I guess Kylan Boswell could be in the mix. Michael Brown hasn't been super healthy, so that doesn't help his cause. Jeremy Fears has been really good. Darren Peterson hasn't been healthy, and him and Council kind of split the load a little bit. Caden Lewis has been awesome, I think. Yeah, that's probably where the list starts to cut off a little bit in terms of point guards. But I mentioned a lot of different guys. It really is the year of the point guard after it being the year of the big man so much. But those are my top 5 point guards in the country as of right now. What a class, what a group it is. So that is going to do it for this week. Appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Extra long episode again. Someone told me last week, don't apologize for long episodes because we get more content. I won't apologize. But if you're here, especially at the end, I appreciate you 10x more than everyone else, obviously. You guys rock. Make sure to follow on socials, subscribe, leave 5-star, leave ratings. It goes a long way for the podcast, and we have a great week. Have a great week. Enjoy the college basketball. And if you're going to be in Gainesville on Saturday this weekend, I'll be there, and I'll see you there for Tennessee, Florida. So thanks again.